Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I would like to apologize for not being physically with you today, but I hope that this video will actually help you in understanding how the Muat speaking task will be carried out, and also some tips that I would like to share with you on how to attempt the given question. So first of all, what we are going to look at would actually be the components of Muat speaking test paper 800/2. So this paper is going to be divided into two parts. Part 1 is for the individual presentation, and part 2 is for the group discussion. Okay, let's start with the procedure first. What will happen to you on the day of the Muat speaking test is that you are going to register yourself at the center according to the given time. Okay, so if let's say in your Muat registration slip, it's written there at 7:30, that means you have to be there by 7:30 to register yourselves, and also you are going to be listening to the brief that is going to be given by the chief of examiners or perhaps one of the examiners. Okay, for Muat speaking test, you are going to have two examiners, and they are actually either lecturers or English teachers from all over around Melaka. So they either can be the English lecturer from any of our Melaka universities, or even the school teachers who are teaching Muat in any schools in Melaka. Okay, so but don't worry about the examiners. What is important is that you are able to perform in the speaking test. Okay, let's look at the procedure first. First of all, when you register yourself, you are going to be in the quarantine room until your turn arrives. Okay, and then when you are going to be called, when your turn is up, and then you are going to be called to go to the examination room. What happens at the examination room is that you are going to be seated according to the candidate. So when you registered yourself, right, at the quarantine room, you will actually be informed which candidate you are going to be, either candidate A, B, C, or D. So once you step your foot into the examination room, the examiners, there are going to be two examiners, and the examiner will inform you to sit according to your candidate that you have been informed. And after that, once you are seated, the examiner will ask for your either metric card or IC to check your names according to the given list. Alright, after that, they are going to inform you to read the question. You are actually given 1 minute to understand, to only read the question given to you, and make sure that you actually read task A and also task B. And normally what happens is that the question paper is going to be placed into a plastic folder. Okay, so what is going to be laid in front of you will only be task A. So when they ask you to read the question for 1 minute, you are actually required to read task A, and also you need to flip over the paper so that you are going to find task B. Right? So after the 1 minute is up, you are going to be asked by the examiners if you have any questions regarding the given situation or the given task. So make sure that if let's say you do not understand any meaning of any of the words, or if you would like to actually know more about the given vocabulary, then you may ask the examiners. Right? For example, you can perhaps say, when the examiner asks you, yes, candidate A, do you have any question? And you might say to the examiner, yes, madam, may I know what is the meaning of tourist, for example, if you are not sure of the meaning, right? And your question will be answered by the examiners and explained by them. But do not ever expect that they are going to answer your question in Malay language. Alright? They will always use English language. Okay, so they will actually ask the candidates one by one. Okay, and after the Q&A session, they will inform you again to look at the question, right? You are actually going to be given 2 minutes to prepare your points for the given question. So be careful. If you have any issues, any problems that you would like to ask, not problems, any questions regarding the given situation, the given task, then after the 1 minute is up, that is the only time that you can actually refer to the examiners. Once they tell you to start and prepare your points, no more questioning after that to the examiners, right? Okay, so you are going to be given 2 minutes of preparation. What you are going to do during the 2 minutes is to actually identify, first of all, identify the keywords, okay? And then you are going to focus on the situation and the task. We are going to go and look at that after this slide, right? So let me go through the procedure first. Okay, after the 2 minutes is up, then the examiner will inform you. All right, we'll start with candidate A. Candidate A, you are given 2 minutes to present your points. During your presentation, the other candidates may listen and take down notes, right? And then they will ask the candidate A to begin their speech. And right after candidate A finishes his or her speech, which is not allowed to be interrupted by any of the candidates, yeah? All right, so task A for the individual presentation is only done individually, and no other candidates may interrupt the presentation during the presentation. So after A has finished presenting his or her points, then another 2 minutes is given to the candidate B, and followed by another 2 minutes for candidate C, and finally, if there is candidate D, another 2 minutes will be given to candidate D to present his or her points. All right, so after candidate D has finished his or her points, then the examiner will inform you that you have another 2 minutes to prepare for your points regarding for task B. So task B, just now we have seen that task B is where you need to flip over the paper, right? And you're going to find task B there. Okay, so after the 2 minutes of preparation, you are given about 7.5 to 10 minutes for your group discussion, because it actually depends on the number of your group members. If there are 4 of you, then you're going to be given 10 minutes. If there are only 3 of you, it's going to be only 7.5 minutes. Okay, once the time is up, then you're going to be asked by the examiners to stop your discussion, and then only you may only leave the room. Okay, and then you need to actually go back to your classes as usual. All right, so excuse me. So what happens during the group discussion is that you are going to interact with each other. You are allowed to present your points, and then you may interrupt your friends, and you actually need to do them politely. You cannot just simply interrupt as you like. And also later on, I'm going to share with you some of the useful expressions that you can use when you are carrying out not only task B but also task A, right? So for now, let's move on to our next slide, and I hope that you have your blue book with you, because we are going to look at the question together now. Okay, let's look at this question together. Turn to page 240. We are going to look one of the sample question. Okay, and this is meant for candidate B. Alright, it doesn't matter whether you are candidate A, B, C, or D. What is more important is that you are able to carry out your task, okay, and fulfill the required task based on the situation given. Okay, so let's look at the question together now. I hope you have the book with you. Alright, so what you're going to find here is actually the combination of task A and task B on the same page, right? But as I have informed you earlier just now, in the actual question paper, you are going to see only task A on one page, and when you flip over the paper, then only you are going to find task B, okay, at the bottom here. So let's focus on task A first. Okay, the instructions, right? Normally it's going to be read to you by the examiner. But what you need to focus on would be the two boxes that are given to you. One is for task A. Okay, you can see that it's written there as individual presentation. And in the box, let's go straight to the box. You find the word that is being bold there would be the first one is situation. Let's look at the situation together. We can see that it's written there as Malaysia is a very popular tourist destination because of its many attractions. What are some of these attractions? So if you look here, this is the two boxes that I was talking about. This is for task A, okay, and this is task B. So we are going to focus first on task A. And if you look at task A question, alright, what you need to do is to read the situation given first, right? And here, if you have read the question, you are going to find, or you need to actually identify what are the keywords. So we have here our own beloved country, Malaysia, right? And the keywords that we can actually use would be very popular and tourist destination. And why is it that our country is a very popular destination for the tourists? Is because, okay, of its many attractions. So what we are going to talk about, this is actually the topic of our presentation, okay? And what we need to focus on would actually be on the points of explaining, right? Why, how, where are actually meant by the tourist attraction. And if we are going to look at the destination here, what is meant by destination? And our given point, right, the point that is given to candidate B would be shopping malls. Alright, so what you are going to present is that you are going to talk on why is it that shopping malls have become very popular among tourists, right? And this has also become our one of our many attractions, right? And normally when you attempt any speaking question, they are going to be you actually apply the WH question theory. And I strongly believe that you have done this when you were in school, right? So some of the WH would be what, okay? And then we have when, right? Where, which, which, and also how. Okay, but the question now is which WH are we going to apply here? Alright, so let's go back to the question here. And let me change my pen color so that it will be easier for us to refer to. Okay, let's look at the keywords here. We have identified the tourist destination and being popular, right? And this is what is being faced by the shopping mall. Okay, first of all, we need to actually define what is shopping mall. Or some students love to actually start by giving the brief definition or background of what is meant by these keywords. So we can actually apply the question what are shopping malls? And then you can also include perhaps the question when, which, right, in describing some of the examples of shopping malls. So first of all, you are going to give reasons why is it that shopping malls have become a very popular tourist destination among the tourists. Okay, so why is it? Why do we have to choose, or why do we have to say that shopping malls is one of our attractions? number one, perhaps, we are able to say that it is actually a one-stop center. Okay, and what can we find at this one-stop center is everything that is needed by the customer, the consumer, but in this case, it's actually the tourist. So when you visit one country, what do you normally expect to be done there or to find, right? Okay, so when we talk about one-stop center, this can include the restaurant, cafes, okay, where you can find food. All right, and at the shopping mall as well, you are able to find any items that you are looking for. So any goods, right? And if you want to buy the high-end brands, then you need to go to a shopping mall that is famous for that. If you just simply want to buy or shop at a lower budget, we also have many choices of those malls. All right, other than we can find our goods, anything that we actually need, we can also dine there. We have food, and plus we can also have entertainment. Okay, I'm going to write this word in only a short form. Okay, but if it's going to make it clearer, then let's have it at the bottom here. Another reason is for entertainment. All right, when we say it's for entertainment, that means this includes cinema. You can watch movies, right? And then you can perhaps play bowling, or you even have archery. Okay, so this would be more on the recreational activities. All right. Okay, other than that, you can actually hang out with your friends. Okay, and also there are actually some centers, some shopping malls that actually provide for the kids. All right, not only for entertainment, right? Entertainment is where the whole family can enjoy it, but there are also some some shopping malls that actually provide the team mini park for the children. Okay, for them to play with the balls, perhaps, right? So how you are going to elaborate your points is by giving the example of okay, so how you are going to answer the question is by giving lots of examples actually. All right, here we are able to list down only one point. It says here one-stop center. All right, normally I would actually advise my students to come up with only the maximum of 2 points, because you can imagine that 2 minutes is actually not very long for you to speak, right? So you have to make sure that when you're presenting your points, it doesn't have to be with too many points, right? The quantity doesn't really matter, but what is important is that you are able to elaborate, to give examples, to explain on your point, right? So it has to be a very detailed presentation. So that's why we actually apply the WH questions here to assist you in expanding your own ideas. All right, and if you look at the one that we have done here, what we have written is actually in graphic organizer form, right? And this looks like a bubble that is coming from the top to the bottom. You can also use other graphic organizers such as the mind map that starts at the left side and then it goes vertical, right? Meaning that from you are going to branch your ideas from left to right. Okay, and some students would love to use the bubble map, right? So again, my strong advice is during the 2 minutes of preparation, please do not ever write your points in complete sentences, because it will never help you during the presentation, right? Okay, so make sure that once you are given the 2 minutes to prepare your points, straight away identify the keywords, Okay, and then you start by giving an example, or you can actually start, it's better actually for you to start by looking at these WH questions. So we start off with what is actually meant by shopping malls. All right, so we define that shopping malls, one of the reason why the tourists or is attracted to the shopping malls, and they become very popular among the tourists because it is actually, shopping malls is actually a one-stop center where you can find all these things. Right? Okay, so this is one example on how you can elaborate on your points. And after you have prepared your mind map here, do not forget that you need to also include, it's better for you to include the examples. And if you want to talk about examples of a high-end shopping malls, the ones that only sells premium goods, right? Exclusive items, then perhaps they can go to KLCC, Pavilion, and so on. Alright? Okay, if they are looking for a lower budget, then these malls can also be found all around KL itself. Right? So give specific examples. Name the shopping malls. I believe that many of you are very familiar with shopping malls, right? So make use of your experience, make use of your knowledge when it comes to giving the examples. Alright, so if you have another point, that is also okay. Alright, that is a better idea actually. But if you are able to elaborate only on one point and your explanation is very detailed, then there is actually no problem for you to achieve or to gain a higher band. Alright, okay. I hope that you are able to follow task A for now. Right? For task B, what I actually would like to focus on is for you to understand the task actually. Just now we have seen that in task A, it doesn't matter whatever the points that is given to the examiner, to the candidates have to elaborate, have to speak on the given topic. But in task B, you are actually allowed to choose any of the 4 points given here. Okay, so if you look here, this is candidate B, right? And this is your point here. Number 2 is shopping malls. Right, so just by reading task B, you are able to know your other or your fellow friends, the other 3 candidates' points. So this would be candidate A's point, this one is ours, B, and this is for C, and this is D. Right, so during the task B, you are actually expected to interact with each other. So when one is presenting, the others may listen, all right, and take down notes. And after the candidate is done, you need to respond to what has been said by that particular candidate, and then you add on with your own points. But don't worry much about task B. We are going to do that later on. So our focus today is on task A. Okay, class, I think I will stop right here because what I would like you to do now is actually to go to the link that I'm going to share in the group, right? And then you are going to look at the photos that I've also shared with you, and you need to actually log yourself into Flipgrid, and you are going to find one question in the Flipgrid, and what you need to do is actually to record yourself, okay, and using the Flipgrid, and then it's going to be uploaded into the Flipgrid screen, and later on I am able to give you feedbacks. It can either be feedbacks from your friends or even from me as well. Right, so do try out the question I'm going to give you, and I hope that you are able to complete this task or this assignment by Sunday. Alright, okay, so if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask in our group, right? Or you can also PM me as well. But I hope that you're going to ask your questions in the group so that everyone can actually know the answer. Alright, so if you have any problem with Flipgrid, please also do inform me. Right, so hopefully I am able to see you sometime next week. Until now, right? Take care, and I'll see you in the group. Okay, bye.